This is a house that my partner and I just completed. Now take a look at it before we started. Quite a difference, right? What you don't see is the year, yes, year, that it took to complete this house. If you're looking to start flipping homes and you're getting excited about all the money, I got 8 pieces of advice that I've got to share with you before you commit. First piece of advice. This should be common sense, but it is not easy. It is not easy, and I know the TV shows may portray it as easy and fun and something to do with your husband or wife, and hey, you busted through the wall and I'm kind of pissed, but it's okay because we'll make $70,000 in a month's time. No, it is not that easy. Please get that thought out of your head. Number 2, it's competitive. That's also why it's not easy, but it's very competitive. This is not 2009, 2010 when no one had money and contractors were desperately looking for work. This is 2019 and everyone and their mom and their grandma and their neighbor has an extra $100,000 laying around because the economy's been so freaking good that it's hard to be very poor. People have jobs, people have money, and when that happens, it goes from investors doing this to everyday people wanting to flip. That makes it extremely competitive. Contractors that were usually lining up for work at whatever rate just to feed their family can now charge an arm and a leg because they're getting bids all over the place and they want to take the highest one. Number 3, you better bring something special to the table. Because it's not easy, because it's competitive, you better have a competitive advantage over your neighbor or your mom or anyone else that's looking to flip. For example, I have my real estate license, so I could save a bit of money on buying and selling the property. I also have a few connections that were able to get me the property that I wanted, but if you don't have something like that, if you're not in construction or have a lot of money or have some resource or project management skills or things like that, what do you have to offer? My buddy Anthony, who I did this flip with, he lives in Tampa where the property's at. He's also in construction and is an engineer, so he knows about that kind of stuff and was able to help me along the way. He was able to check on the property. He was also able to offer his part of the financing as well. If you don't have all these pieces, then what do you expect? Number 4, partner with someone that complements your weaknesses or complements your strengths, as in makes up for your weaknesses, doesn't double your strength. If you have a lot of money and no knowledge about anything real estate or flipping, don't partner with someone else that has a lot of money and no real estate knowledge. You need to balance it out. You need all the pieces to fit. So if someone has a lot of time and is great at construction and is right there, and you live far away, you don't know anything about construction, but you have the money, that's a good combination. As long as you can trust each other, communicate well, and you're on the same page, you check a lot of those boxes. That's what you want, is to check all those boxes that are needed to have a successful project, a successful flip. Don't double up on your strengths and then have 2 glaring weaknesses. Number 5, contractors will make or break your flip. Now, that has been the biggest lesson we have learned because even though he has a construction background to a degree, this project was insane. This was like, most people said just bulldoze the whole thing and build new. And we were determined to rehab it. We talked to contractors that said, hey, we can rehab it. We can do it in about 7 months. And we said, all right, let's do it. The budget sounded good, but I knew that, hey, I'm a model. I don't freaking touch a hammer unless I'm getting paid to be in a picture with the hammer or a drill or anything construction related. I don't know a damn thing about that or have an interest. My buddy Anthony, he has some knowledge, but he doesn't have time. He has a 40 to 50 hour a week job. He can't be doing all this himself, nor does he have the knowledge to go into detail or even other people to help him with it. So we gave our power over to the contractors. If you have contractors that are good, that are reliable, that won't screw you over, that will stick to a budget, a time deadline, and a financial budget, and deliver a quality product, they can make your flip, and you want to hold on to them for a long, long time and treat them well. But most contractors are not that good, and there will always be butting heads if there's some sort of disagreements or miscommunication. Even though the contractors we used have done a good job in terms of quality and they've stuck to the financial budget we've set, the time frame has been double what we anticipated. We originally heard 6 or 7 months, and now it's been a year. If you think of opportunity cost, what we could have done with that money, plus the interest that we're paying other investors to hold their money this long, we've lost a lot of money because of that. So that's a big mistake on our part. We did not put a deadline or some sort of penalty fee on that. We didn't feel like we could get these contractors if we put a penalty for taking too long, but that's a learning lesson on our part. Number 6, you make your money when you buy, not when you sell. You have to buy a great deal. You don't buy a house and fix it up so much that you can make a profit at the end. If you don't buy it at a low enough number, it doesn't matter what you do, you will be screwed. So a lot of people now, the trouble that's going on is that people will buy off of speculation, as in, I'm overpaying for the property. However, if the market continues to climb at this pace, it'll be okay. That is extremely dangerous. That's why a lot of people lose on investments, period. Bitcoin, stocks, and in, of course, 2005, 2006, 2007, that same philosophy bit a lot of people in the ass. And it's just too dangerous for me. And I hope that you take more caution than to buy with that speculation mentality, because it might not get you this time, but it might get you 3 or 4 properties down the road, and you may be losing way more, because if you've scaled up to $1 million flip or 4 or 5 properties at the same time with that same mentality, it's eventually going to bite you. Number 7, if I have scared you about flipping houses, then I apologize, but I'm not really sorry, because you should also be considering buying, fixing, and renting. Having a house to flip and only making a small profit margin, like it looks like Anthony and I will be making, that's a lot of work, a lot of time for what? For something you're getting rid of for a few grand? If you can have a property that's paid off or you have a good deal on and put a renter in there and get a good amount of cash flow, then you have something to build for a long time. Now, you have to think of, okay, I gotta get a property management company, or I gotta manage it myself, which does take additional work, but you have to think of the pros and cons. Maybe that is better, because now you have some income coming in on the side, you have some equity being built, you have something that can go towards another investment, rather than just breaking even or making a few grand and then that's it. Last but not least, number 8, learn from successful flippers in your market. Now, I took a course back in 2011 with a flipper in Central Florida, and she went over all this information, everything, A to Z. I want to say the course was $1,500 or $2,000, and I learned a lot. Me and my partner at the time, we were going and learning a ton, and we were like, wow, we got this. We learned everything from A to Z. But this was before YouTube really exploded, or there were a lot of other wonderful resources like there are now that are free and accessible. And even though we learned a lot, we found that it just did not apply nearly as easily. We learned how to negotiate with contractors and realtors and all this, but it worked on paper. It worked in the classroom. It did not work as it was displayed when we actually tried it for ourselves. And so I'd be hesitant, if I were you, to pay for $2,000 courses or anything like that when there's so much great quality information for free. But honestly, if you're very serious about flipping, you go to the RIA meeting, riaclub.com I think is the website, but just search RIA and your city and you'll find the RIA meetings. You go there, you go to a few meetings, you discover who are the best flippers in your market, you ask around, and then you offer them to shadow them and give them incentive. And hey, I'd like to pick your brain for an hour over lunch. that's not what any successful person wants. Hey, yeah, I'd love a $20 lunch for an hour of my time where you ask me questions nonstop. No, come on. Look, if someone's really successful, $20 lunch, that's them losing a lot of money compared to what they could be doing in an hour. So maybe you offer to pay $100 or $150 for an hour of their time or something similar. And maybe they'll say, wow, I'm so flattered. Yeah, we can meet for coffee. Maybe they're cool like that. But honestly, you want to learn from the best. You want to build the relationship with these flippers and see how you can offer them value. If you could offer them legitimate value, whether it's just your time or you have finances you could put towards a project and take less of a return than another investor, that's something else. But you do not have to take these courses. You just want to make sure that you're learning from people that you can trust and that are doing a great job currently in your market. Going forward, I will not be doing any more flips, at least for the time being. Too much stress, too much work, too little of a profit margin considering what I can offer versus if I was a general contractor or if I was a banker that got all the short sales and foreclosures. I just don't offer enough and I don't have the interest in it. Oh, I would much rather buy and hold, build a rental portfolio and get that lifestyle of my dreams rather than take the risks of having a big chunk coming in but also losing money on an investment. All right, guys, that's all I got for you. Thanks for tuning in to the Millennials Guide to Real Estate. Again, I'm Brad. Feel free to subscribe to the station and click that little bell for new episodes. Stay tuned for videos with realtors across the country currently crushing it in the game and learn how they do it. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.